This is a standard rotation, okay? Which one's forward, which is reverse?
Forward, reverse.
Correct.
Forward and reverse.
Right. So here's your clutch dog.
Let's go.
This is your clutch dog right here.
Clutch dog is here.
So when you're shifting it,
Clutch dog?
yeah, this is your clutch dog. So when you shift it, it moves. So it moves and engages the gears as you need. See? It's a little bit tough to do because it's been out for a while. Now, you look at this. If it's not lined properly, you see how this is? See how it engages? If it's not lined out, it'll eat the edges off of this. So you can see this one's a little bit worn, but it's not bad. It's a little bit worn. And what happens is, people say, oh, just change the clutch dog. Yeah, you can change the clutch dog and it'll work. But then eventually it's gonna wear the same as this. So you gotta do a gear set.
In that case, you need to replace this, and this.
Yeah, you replace, as a gear set, you replace the pinion, the forward and reverse, and the clutch dog, okay? So if it's not lined right, it's not gonna grab properly. And or it'll go and eat the edges up. So when you're taking these apart, you're looking for it.
Danny, can we refresh quickly the components, please?
Okay.
This is here, sorry. This is here. And this is...
So this is your bearing carrier. So your bearing carrier is in where the exhaust. The exhaust comes this way and comes out through your prop hub.
In this area I have a smoke with water.
Right.
For that reason I have a sink.
Right. So let's take a quick look at this over here. What you just saw there is right here. The exhaust comes through here, and out through the prop hub. There's your drive shaft, your shifting mechanism, your clutch dog, your reverse, forward. It's simple. There's not a whole lot to this.
Once again, the exhaust gases enter here with water, and in this area, in between this O-ring and this one, you have gases with water. For that reason, you have a sacrificial anode sink located over there to protect the aluminum metal of the carrier. Yeah, and the gases with water goes here out into the middle of the propeller.
Yeah. So you have places that this gear case can leak, because this is an outboard, an all outboard. You have the shift shaft, it can leak from here, the drive shaft, the O-ring on the carrier, and the prop shaft. Okay, or your drain plugs. Your drain plugs, these on the other side.
Danny, in other words, we have oil only in between this O-ring and this, and this. Yeah. This is oil, and this is water with gases.
Right.
If this O-ring is damaged, I have leaks in both directions.
Right, you see water, and that when you vacuum and pressure test, you spray soapy water here, soapy water in there, soapy water here, and soapy water here, and you pressure test it, which you guys are gonna do, and then you'll see where it bubbles, you know you need to replace that seal. This is the same thing as this. You have a plate, and you have, what do you call this? It's a thrust washer. Your reverse gear. Now there's a shaft that goes in here which this moves and moves it back and forth, right? You see it? Well, this one's busted, but there's the shaft that goes in there, and the clutch dog, which I have here, has a spring. You know what? I should get a small. Well, if I took the spring off, you would see where the shaft goes in. Ever see it? So if I took that spring off, this is what you would see, and then you would just tap the pin out, and when you take the pin out, then you can slide the clutch dog off, and then you have the open space. So it's hollow back here only for the shifting, but it's solid from here on. Okay? Any questions so far? No?
Danny, excuse me. We are going to show to them the mechanisms, please.
Okay, so this one is an OMC. So it has the long shift rod that goes in here. So when
rod.
So when it pushes down,
what is the name of this rod?
It goes in reverse. When you go up, it engages here. I don't know if it engages. There we go. So here's another thing. When you guys are trying to shift it in gear when the engine's off, spin the prop. Okay, so that way, not the prop, the prop, so the shaft, so that way you can align the gears. Okay. So you have a thrust washer, same thing as there, as the one up here in the carrier, and that's called a bearing carrier.
You have two thrust washers.
Yeah,
one here
for the, one
and
for
other
the
here.
forward and one for the reverse.
Other here. Look at the thrust washers. Or axial. The thrust washer, that one, and the axial bearing together. You have one in here and other over there. No?
Right. So the bearing carrier is your prop shaft seal. Now this one's okay because this one is an external. I can pull it out this way. So a fishing line comes in here and eats up, and then it goes in there, and then water gets in and destroys the needle bearings. But if you catch it in time, you can reuse everything. Just replace the seal. I can pop just that off and put it back in.
In the video of the class, we explained that here you have two seals back to back in tandem. No?
Yeah, one facing in this way to keep the oil in, and one facing that way to keep the water from coming in. Quiz question.
Yeah, that's a quiz question.
It is a quiz question. Now, the shifting mechanism you notice is a shaft. This one actually has a fork. This is off a Honda.
Look.
So this has a fork, and then this one's off a Mercury. That has another piece here that grabs and then moves. Okay? So there's different times of shifting. Now here's the reason there's no shaft on here, because this is one that has a split shaft. So what's nice about the split shaft is I can make a gear case either 20-inch shaft, 30-inch shaft, or 25-inch shaft just by replacing the shaft without taking the whole gear case apart. This is your drive shaft seal. So how this works is when you have your lower unit all together, your water pump sits underneath here. So I got a leak, but I see it leaking. I don't see it leaking on the outside, but I see it coming a little bit through the exhaust and stuff like that. That's because the seal's leaking from the inside. You're not going to see it. But if you pressure test it, you would see it when you have it all apart. First you take this all apart. When you're doing the service, you should always take it apart. And you're going to look in the condition of the drive shaft housing seal. If it's eaten up, replace it. If it's even slightly eaten up, I'm replacing it. So here's one rule I tell you, and I want to ask you why I do this. When I put these seals in, I put Loctite around the metal part when I'm installing this. Why?
So it doesn't move.
So it doesn't move. Because it's very easy when it's under a loud house and circle for force, that seal can spin within itself.
That's the difference between this one and that one.
Yeah, this is the split shaft. See, this is the split shaft. This actually comes out. It goes to this. I can take this out and put it in the other one. So now another thing to look for. So when you're doing your services and you're changing the water pump, man, I'm leaking oil and you don't understand why, and the seals look good. Look at this. Look at the groove marks. See these groove marks? Over a period of time, running at 4,000, 5,000 RPMs, the stainless steel gets eaten by the seal. And then what happens is it'll start leaking. So then you gotta replace the shaft. It's not the seal, it's the shaft. But I would replace the shaft and the seal, regardless. So these are things that you have to look. Again, remember I tell you guys, visual inspection is so important because you're looking for things. This one's not that bad. This one was just hit by something, but it's not that bad, okay? And the reason these have these rings, some are different than others. This is when it's moving, the oil's forcing up, going up to the top to lubricate the bearings in there.
Those bearings, needle bearings, shim washers.
What are these for? What are these?
Shim.
What's the purpose of a shim?
So it's gonna regulate
The tolerances is to make the tolerances where it needs to be.
Correct the tolerance.
So there's more really tight tolerances in forward and not so much in reverse. That's why people who go really hard in reverse can destroy their lower units, because they're not designed. They're just designed to go in reverse, not go full speed in reverse. Okay? So they keep that in mind. Now, by looking at this water pump housing, what do you see wrong with that water pump housing?
melted.
It's like coming up here.
Okay, so how would that happen?
It's extra heat.
The water going in.
Dry. Because look,
Air.
Yeah.
look at the water.
Burned the blades.
The stainless steel got so hot that it melted the plastic around the stainless steel. Okay? And this is what a burnt up water impeller looks like from a customer of mine that did probably just suck the bag. I think this guy, what he did is he learned from this mistake. When you're running an engine off flushette, never walk away from the engine. If you're gonna walk away from the engine, shut the engine down, because you go inside to go get a glass of water and that hose just vibrates off. It doesn't take very long to melt these impellers out. Okay? This is a Honda, but this is just like Suzuki, Mercury, Yamaha. that the splines line up. When you guys take these water pumps off these outboards,
And this one operates like this.
yes, it moves it. It has like a little fork on the inside.
And the other one's up and down with this. Ah, no,
Well, the Mercury was just like this, and it has this, and it twists. Okay, it twists.
oh, yeah, twist like
And then
this.
the fork
or
goes like this and like this.
Yeah, okay.
And you guys will see it because you're gonna tear them apart. Okay. Any questions to this point?
Can you like name each piece one more time?
So what's this? Bearing carrier.
Bearing carrier.
What gear?
Reverse.
Reverse. What's this called?
Shaft.
Prop shaft.
Prop shaft.
What's this called?
The clutch.
Clutch dog. What's this?
The forward gear.
And this is the shifting mechanism that has bearings in it.